what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy it. Let's look at this Baylor Bears team, Jake. To be honest, I've not watched Baylor play a ton of football this year. I'll watch a couple games in the run-up to this. But it's a weird year because they lost a few early on, and everybody kind of stopped watching him. But then they seemed to get stronger and stronger as the year went on, right? So they lose to Utah early on. Then they lose to Colorado. The game they should have won.
They lost to Colorado.
The double Hail Mary. They gave up back-to-back Hail Marys to lose that game. Then they lose to BYU, which at the time you're like, oh, that's a bad loss. But, BYU ended up being good. Then they lose to Iowa State badly. But at the time you're like, oh, Iowa State, they're not any good. Oh, no, they ended up being pretty good. So really, outside of Utah, 3 losses to 3 of the top 4 teams in the Big 12. So Baylor is a team that in the Big 12 was not as good as the best, but pretty much better than the rest.
Yeah.
And they ended on a really nice 6-game winning streak, culminating in a complete dismantling of a red-hot Kansas team and the sinking of the pontoon parlay. Beat Kansas 45-17 to end the year. Very impressive stuff from Baylor. And you look at the numbers, Jake. So they finished 6-3 in conference because for one of the reasons, one of those games was not a conference game. 8-4 overall.
Yeah, which game was it that wasn't? It was
BYU maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, it was one of them. Maybe Utah. Yeah, actually, I think it was. No, because Utah's was Kansas State. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, so they're fifth in the conference is where they finish. 8-4, 6-3. And you look, Jake, they don't do, their offense is their strength, but overall, they're not like overwhelmingly good at anything. They're just a very solid team, kind of top to bottom.
I do think that they've got a quarterback that is going to keep them on schedule. They have a quarterback that is going to be able to make plays in this game. Again, like to your point, kind of what you're saying, like he's not certainly going to be the best quarterback that you face, but Sawyer Robinson's somebody that's played a lot of football, and down the stretch he played his best football, and it's an offense that's, I think, where'd Sawyer start? I think he started at Mississippi State. But
that makes sense.
He comes in and kind of air raid principles for him, and so you can kind of see that in his game. It's a lot of short, intermediate passes. There's not a lot of pushing the football down the field. Like his long this year is 53 yards, but it's not going to be where they're trying to take the top off the defense. They are going to try to death by 1,000 paper cuts. That's kind of what the style of this offense has been. And so, like, can you get that taken care of if you're LSU's defense? Because honestly, like when you look at when LSU's defense has struggled at times, it's been that intermediate pass over the middle of the field.
Yeah, true.
And that is really what Baylor tries to get done. And so you have to make that adjustment to that, because this offense is going to try to have long, time-consuming drives in the pass game. And, look, they'll run the football. They got a 1,000-yard rusher.
Yeah, they got a pretty nice little rushing combo there in Washington and Pendergrass.
They had 1,600 yards between them and right at 6 yards per carry. So, again, like this offense, it tries to almost, I don't want to say like put you to sleep, but a little bit, and then it gets you to take that one chance, bring that extra defender, and then that's when they hit their big play.
Yeah, and to be fair, I said they don't do anything like uber well, and that's not entirely true. They do have a very high scoring offense. Now, how they get there is just very solid. But it's a bit ironic, in fact, that the defense is the weakness of this team. So here you have Dave Aranda, a defensive-minded head coach, where the offense is what has carried them. They are second in the Big 12 at 35 points a game. They're third in total yardage, 7th in passing, 6th in rushing, Jake, 246 to 188. So very 50-50, make you defend both. They're +5 on turnovers on the year. They're 4th in the conference, converting 44% of their third down. These are like a few key stats I can look at for teams. 4th, converting 44% of their third downs. And defensively, they're 2nd in the conference, getting off the field, only allowing a 35% conversion rate. Of course, it's been one of LSU's great strengths this year, has been third down. 6th in sacks, 7th in tiffles, 7th in sacks allowed, 5th in red zone score percentage, 6th in touchdown percentage. And yeah, you mentioned Sawyer Robertson, 62%, 2,600 yards, 8.3 per attempt, 26 tuds, 7 picks. Very solid. Bryson Washington, freshman running back, 170 attempts, 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns. Dawson Pendergrass, 100 carries, 600 yards. So again, a solid is the word that I keep going back to when I look at this Baylor Bears team. Much better than what you faced last year in Wisconsin. If you played like you played last year, you will lose this game, 1,000%. So you better come in locked in and ready to win. Otherwise, you're going to put an embarrassing end cap onto this 2024 year.
And also, like, to go a step farther, like in what you're talking about in these very solid stats and what we're talking about with kind of how they try to run their offense, like their leading receivers, 44 catches, 41 catches, 23 catches, 30 catches, right? So, like, they really spread the football. Like, another receiver's got 28 catches. Like, it would look completely different on maybe some other offenses that have kind of the stats that Baylor has and being close to some of the top in the conference. Like, there's no one dominant receiver. You've got Cameron's got 44 catches, 643 yards. Hawkins has 41 catches, 512 yards. They got another receiver, Presley, 28 catches, 389 yards. They got some tight ends thrown in there as well. Michael Trigg, I think a lot of fans will remember him, Ole Miss. He was like, I don't know if you remember him. I
do not remember him, actually.
God, Mintz was so excited. He came from USC, went to Ole Miss, then he ended up Baylor. Uber athletic guy, but never really turned the corner. This is certainly his best season to date. But that's the thing. Like with this Baylor offense, you have to cover every blade of grass. You can't really just sell out on one player or one scheme because they have 4 receivers, including a tight end, 2 backs, and a quarterback that's highly efficient. And again, like they want to lull you to sleep a little bit and then hit the big play behind you.
And I will say this. I obviously feel infinitely better about this defense, even though, like you said, sometimes they have struggled at times at intermediate stuff over the middle. If you're telling me that the key is going to be kind of playing disciplined and assignment sound, I do believe that is something that LSU has been really good at this year. And especially you look at the last couple of weeks, that's a Vandy offense that you have to be uber disciplined and assignment sound against, and they were, and that final score is not as close as a game. Same thing for the offense that Oklahoma was trying to run. Different styles, but again, those themes of like needing to understand your responsibility and be there. I believe in this staff. Tate, do we have a list of the opt-outs? Opt-outs are going to be very interesting in the age of NIL because if you're getting paid, you can't opt out. You can't skip the bowl game. So I wonder if we see less of them, or maybe it ends up being more because guys are just going to transfer anyway. But yeah, if you're not transferring, like we fully expect you to play.
Yeah, yes,
right.
I mean, like, because that's supposed to be the deal that you have with these collectives.
Yeah, you're paid
in this game. So I wonder. So LSU's going to have a couple of guys that opted out, or you would think, I guess, opted out because they're going pro, right?
Yeah, I mean, Campbell and Mason Taylor are the only ones that have announced they're going pro.
Yeah,
they have not announced. They haven't announced whether or not they're playing.
Oh, I couldn't imagine they would. I don't know why they would. But maybe they will. That's true. I mean, that's going to be that's 12? A security blanket and your cornerstone there that you may have to replace.
I mean, will Will Campbell give his good friend, his best friend Garrett Nussmeier like a solid? Like, hey, fella, I ain't gonna. I mean, he is dating, Garrett's sister. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like it. If you want to get in good with the father-in-law, what do you do?
So many funny.
Protect his son.
So funny to think about. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze there from a risk to reward standpoint. Me personally. How do you think George is feeling today? You think they're happy about playing the SEC championship? Carson Beck, UCL. How about their Ray Guy finalist punter out for the year with a knee injury? It's a couple brutal injuries to take right before you're trying to make a playoff run. Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.